Today, I'm going to help you learn English with a story about girlfriends. Or is it girlfriends? Which is it? Let's find out. Welcome to English Coach 3Ts. If we haven't met before, my name is Tanya, and I'm the creator of our She Speaks Fluency program for women. I live here in the beautiful mountains of Southern California. And my story today is not only going to help you understand the difference between girlfriends and girlfriends, but a couple of other phrases and vocabulary as well. Be sure that you stay to the end of the story when I'm going to give you some information about learning these new words and phrases. So this story starts when my children were a lot younger. In fact, they were small children, and I became friends with a group of women who were in similar life circumstances as I was. And this group of friends, or you could say girlfriends, were my yaya friends. So which is this, girlfriends or girlfriends? We have actually three ways, probably more, that we use the word or phrase girlfriends. In this story, I'm talking about my friends that are girls, and this is how we will explain it to another fluent speaker if they're confused by what we're saying. Typically, we can tell by the context or the other things that we're saying which of the meanings we are talking about, but not always. So in this story, when I say girlfriends, I'm talking about friends that I have that are girls or women. You will occasionally hear people say my women friends, but it's not very common at all. Another meaning of the word girlfriend is a romantic meaning. When somebody is dating a girl or a woman, they will refer to that person as their girlfriend. But in this case, it's really just one word that describes the person that they are dating. And then there's also a way that people use the word that has no reference to what gender or sex the person is, has no reference to whether or not they're friends, dating, or romantic partners. And that's when somebody says something like, girlfriend, you need to stop doing that. And they'll actually say this to women, men, boys, girls. It's not a phrase that I use often, but you will hear people in the United States use this phrase and others like it with that sort of tone of voice. Girlfriend? So back to the story of my girlfriends. There were 6 of us, and I'm not exactly sure how we started calling ourselves the Yaya sisters, but it stuck. In other words, once somebody said it, we kept using that name, that phrase, to refer to ourselves as the Yayas. And in fact, other people around us referred to that group of friends as your Yayas. For example, are you going out with your Yayas tonight? I think that this name originally came from a movie about the Divine Yaya Sisterhood. I'm not totally sure I have that name correct. I know that there was another movie, or maybe it was the first movie, I'm not sure, about the traveling sisterhood pants or something like that. And it was a story, which I did see part of that movie, where these women that were friends would have a pair of pants that one of them would wear, and then they would give them to another to wear, and then another, which is really similar to one of the things that my Yaya sisters and I did, but that is a story for another time. In fact, there are quite a few stories I could tell about this group of friends. We had a ton of fun together. We went through a lot of difficult things together, and we went through a lot of difficult things in spite of each other. So what I mean by that is there were times when we went through difficult times together. We were supporting each other, But when we went through difficult times in spite of each other, I mean, we had difficult times with each other, which is another story for another time. But I think that one of the biggest things is that it was a time in our lives where all of us were single moms, all of us had small children to like grade school, middle school aged children at home. And as single moms, many of us had our children most of the time. A lot of us had no help with our children. So we did a lot of things together with our children that may not have worked out in other circumstances with other people who weren't having the same experience. Because of this, we created a very strong bond. In other words, we had a very strong friendship with each other. And of course, within that group of 6, there were 2 or 3 that had closer or stronger relationships or friendships as well. And like I said, there were also difficult things too. One example of that was with my closest friend at that time. She and I had a really difficult falling out. When we say we have a falling out with someone, it could be as simple as a quarrel, which is a small argument or fight, or in this case, it's a kind way to say that we had something really difficult happen. Again, another story for another time. I have always found the relationship between people to be very interesting, and the way that they develop and progress is something that I have always found interest in. In fact, I have said before, I could have studied sociology, social work, some sort of social science like that, because I find relationships between people to be fascinating, meaning that it's very interesting. And one of the things that I find fascinating is the difference between the way men develop relationships with other men as friends and how women develop friendships with other women. It's so interesting to see the differences in the way they relate. And of course, I'm speaking in general, not as a rule, meaning that not every man, not every woman is like this, but more as a whole, like the whole group of men or the whole group of women. And of course, culture really affects this as well. And as you know, knowing about culture is a huge part of learning a foreign language. And as you're learning English and becoming more fluent, one of the things that you can do to increase your fluency is to learn more about all the cultural differences in English-speaking countries and how that is, how it's different from your country, all of those kind of things. My Yaya friends and I were very close, as I said. We celebrated birthdays together in a little different way than you might celebrate birthdays as a group of friends. We helped each other with our children. We helped each other with other issues that we might have as single parents. And I'm still really, really close friends with some of the Yayas from this group. And I cherish these friendships, whether they are close to me in distance or close to my heart or living further away from me. I am really grateful to have had the opportunity to have these friendships. At the beginning of this video, I asked you to be sure and come to the end of the video where I'm going to tell you how you can learn more about the words and phrases I used in this story today. And that's because I am starting my new More English Club. If you've already signed up, then you are ready. And if you haven't signed up, the link is in the description below. With my new More English Club, you can learn more English with a downloadable printable PDF that you can use with more information about these words and phrases, examples, exercises, and things that you can do so that you can learn the phrases, but not just learn them, remember them, and use them. If you want to get this free PDF, then sign up at the link below and I'll be sure to email it to you so that you can learn more English with me. I'm curious if this story about girlfriends has made you think of any of your friends or groups of friends. I'm curious if there is anything in your culture about friendship that you know is unique to your culture. Let me know in the comments below. Let's connect so that you can practice your English and we can get to know each other better. And if you're ready to learn more with a story similar to this one, check out my playlist of stories that will help you to improve English. I'll see you there.